everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Elizabeth and I am the Colorado Health Coach. For those of you who are new, welcome, and for those of you returning, welcome back to the channel. In case you haven't noticed, I'm doing a reaction to Dr. Mike. I absolutely love Dr. Mike. He's so educational, he's so informative, and let's face it, the guy's very handsome, so he's easy on the eyes. But that's not what we're here for today. What we're here for today is his review and reaction to the cover of Cosmopolitan. I believe it is Cosmopolitan UK, and it was deemed controversial. I've already seen it, I already have an opinion on it, and I just want to see his opinion. And yeah, we're just going to be discussing this openly together. If you've seen any of my previous videos, you will notice that hopefully the sound quality is a little bit better. I turned off all my fans, I turned off my air purifier. The only thing that I did not turn off in this room are my air pumps for my aquariums. I have 2 aquariums in this very room. One, is a project that I'm working on, and the other is for my axolotl falcor. And yeah, those pumps are never going off, so if the audio quality isn't the best, I do apologize. And hopefully I get a really good mic in the future, but we'll see how the quality of this one comes out. But without further ado, let's dive on into the video.
Hey, put this on the cover. I sat down with Argavan,
so it was Cosmopolitan UK,
an obesity researcher, to get her thoughts on the cover, as well as the popular body positivity movement known as health at every size. Do you think overall the health at every size movement?
So I have heard of the health at every size movement,
that
and
very line, healthy at every size,
it's very misleading.
Not actually true.
Yeah.
Can there be people at any size who are healthy at that moment? Yes. But is it true that no matter what your size, you're always able to be healthy? Like, that's not true. I am anti-weight bias, anti-fat phobia, anti-fat stigma, definitely anti-fat shaming. I've written about that. But I don't think that being aware of the consequences of obesity is the same as fat shaming.
What I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you could be a patient who is diagnosed with obesity, may have great cholesterol, may be not diabetic, their blood pressure may be great. The fact that their weight is
So basically, even though you are overweight and you are still deemed healthy for now, even though you're young, that doesn't mean that health complications aren't going to show up further down the line. And eventually they do with being a size like that, someone who is morbidly obese.
Above a certain cutoff, it puts them at a greater risk down the line, maybe not at this given moment.
All those lab values also don't mean that they don't have knee pain or hip pain or ankle pain or, lower back.
So the more weight you have on the body, the greater the stress you're putting on your body. Yes, you are stronger than, I want to say, the average, because you're carrying around all this weight every single day. And it does do wear and tear on your body.
Back pain, which are all things that we commonly see with people with obesity, increased risk of endometrial cancer, for example, increased risk of mood disorders, like all of that is still there, even if our lab values are normal.
Speaking about the Cosmopolitan cover, do you think that those covers send a right message or wrong message during a time where obesity in the United States and in the world is becoming an epidemic of sorts? With COVID-19, we see worse outcomes for patients who are diagnosed with obesity. Do you think those covers are problematic, basically?
I think they're a little bit misleading. I think that the story itself, like the content.
I think that the cover can be problematic. I think that it's great that they're promoting exercise and activity, and they're saying that people of this size can still move around and be active. However, by them putting the caption, "This is healthy," they're advertising something completely false, and it's not the message we should be sending the youth of America, essentially.
That they wrote is very nice, and they talk about how each of these women, what their relationship with physical activity is, and how they feel about their health and their.
I'm glad that she's breaking down the article, because honestly, with seeing the cover, it just detracted me from the article, and I am appreciating that she's saying that they dove into different body types. and address their relationships with food and what they do to feel healthy about their bodies and what they do to be active. I'm hoping on a daily basis, who knows, but it's all about habit change. It's all about lifestyle choice.
Their body, and it's not even about obesity at all. There were a number of people criticizing, saying that
it's not solely focused on that.
Especially when we know that people with obesity have worse outcomes with COVID. This is irresponsible. And to me, that feels a little bit of a stretch. Like, I think they're just trying to say that people of all different sizes can.
I agree with her. There you go.
Can be physically active.
I agree with you too, Dr. Mike.
And I think that's a really good message.
I think they are ultimately sending the message, and I agree with you on that. I just think they're doing it in a cheeky way where they're trying to create inflammatory conversation, or maybe it's
so they knew what they were doing. Cosmopolitan 100% knew what they were doing.
I mean, they
were just trying to get a reaction from the public, and it worked. Or else we wouldn't be here. Like months later, months down the line, still addressing it. I mean, heck, I'm still talking about it. Look at me. And it's been since February, so 5 months. It's been 5 months, 6 months. And I would say that they were successful in getting, a reaction out of people. They made a lasting impact because they could have captioned it anything, but yet they chose those exact words. And they chose those words for a reason.
Everybody is worthy, or what, there's a number of different things they could have put on those covers that would have been pretty accurate and indisputable.
We frequently see on the cover of magazines very slender bodies, thin, muscular, six-packs, etc. It's led to true cases of disordered eating going up and body dysmorphia. The sort of rebuttal to this is to say, and that's what's happening right now,
I think that Photoshop also plays a huge part in this because, let's face it, those models, both male and female, they've been retouched, they've been redone. They don't actually look like that. And it's sad for people to compare themselves to that because not even these models naturally look like that. They have to be digitally enhanced.
Let's put people of different sizes on magazines, and let's take someone who is diagnosed with obesity and put them on a cover. Is there a chance that that can lead to disordered eating in the opposite direction, of people feeling it's okay for me to be this size, I should continue my lifestyle, not make changes, not think about going for bariatric surgery?
I feel like with what Dr. Mike is saying, a lot of people could use it as a valid excuse, but by no means is it logical. By no means is it, you taking accountability. It's just an excuse. And people who actually want to lose weight, they will run out of excuses, or they'll have no excuse, and they'll actually put a step forward and do something about it. And as long as you're doing something about it, I applaud you, But the people who make excuses will always make excuses until they wake up and open their eyes and see that they have to at least put in some work. Because even with the work that I do as a health and life coach, I ask my clients to meet me at least halfway because they have to want it for themselves. I can't do all the work for them. And that's when accountability, that's when that plays a huge role. And I think that's really commendable for anyone who's willing to do that to better themselves.
Surgery, because the celebrities I look up to are this way.
I think there's a balance there. I think that we can have the covers like the Cosmo ones and say, look, people who are a bigger size can still be active and aspire to having a healthy.
So aspire to having a healthy body. That is essential. If you're overweight, obese, or morbidly obese, you are at a higher risk for certain diseases, certain health complications. It's only a matter of time, and it's sad because it's very reversible as long as you're willing to take accountability and take those steps towards being healthier than you are today. I mean, heck, I could be healthier. I'll admit it. Everyone could be healthier. But it's all about a good balance and not feeling deprived of anything and just developing healthy habits in the long run.
Body versus saying, this is how we all are and we should just live with it. You know, I think that's a different message.
Yeah.
In this
I
country,
agree with her. We should all aspire for more.
Overweight or obesity. And if
Isn't
there
that
were
sad?
no
3/4.
negative health
I thought it was only
consequences
2/3 still,
maybe
but
that
no,
would be
it's
fine.
3/4 now,
But
which
the fact
is
as we've talked about,
quite scary.
all of that excess weight brings with it risk for very serious problems that are costly to the individual, that inhibit their lifestyles, and make it harder for them to live the life they might want. So
I 100% agree with her. We as healthcare providers, we want to provide the best care to our patients, to our clients. And what we ultimately want is for them to have a longer life, a quality life. That's what everyone should strive for, honestly, when it comes to health.
I think we have to kind of acknowledge both sides of it, that no, we don't want to be stigmatizing people who are bigger, but we also want to recognize that obesity has a number of medical problems associated with it.
The way that someone like you goes about treating individuals who are diagnosed with obesity, or at least morbid obesity, would be through a procedure known as bariatric surgery, right? That is your specialty. You obviously don't think that is recommended for all patients, but it's certainly one of the best treatments out there when it comes from an evidence perspective of not only losing weight, but keeping weight off long term, and then also even getting rid of some other diagnoses like diabetes, like high cholesterol, etc. Why is it that bariatric surgery has better long-term success in keeping the weight off than, let's say, traditional diet and exercise recommendations that your family medicine doctor can give you?
One thing we know about losing weight with diet and exercise is that only about 5% of people who lose weight that way are able to maintain that weight loss.
No way! No way! Yeah, so listen.
Yes, but it's not impossible, so don't feel discouraged by that 5%. As long as you are willing to make that lifestyle change, you will be successful. It's all about persistence and taking accountability and actually showing up for yourself. Because at the end of the day, you shouldn't be doing it for anyone but you. That's the only way it's going to have a very lasting impact.
So all of us know people who've had incredible success with diets and exercise, and that's amazing, and something to be really proud of because they've really beaten the odds. For the majority of people, no matter how hard they try,
it's really
very,
something
very hard
to overcome
for them to get to a healthier weight and size on their own. And that's where bariatric surgery comes in and is really, really helpful. We don't 100% know in terms of the weight loss why it's more effective. We think that it helps reset people's kind of set point, if you will. A lot of us believe that every body wants to be around a certain number in terms of weight or a certain size in terms of BMI. We don't know how, that develops, but that seems to be what happens. One of the most magical things about bariatric surgery is its effect on diabetes. Especially when we talk about specifically the gastric bypass. We have many, many patients.
A few years ago, I had a client of mine. She had been a client of mine for about 3 months, and within those 3 simple months, she and I were able to get her completely off of her insulin, and eventually weight loss did follow. And it was just a result of her drinking more water, developing healthier habits. And she and I literally met once a week for an hour over the course of 12 weeks. And honestly, I'm really proud of her. I hope she was able to keep it off and everything. I do recommend people renew because some people aren't ready to just go off on their own. If they are super confident in themselves and willing to do so, I applaud them. But I do give them a 2-month window where they can still come back and renew for 10%. But unfortunately, this particular client did not renew, did not return. I wish her all the best. I'm really proud of her. She was one of my very first clients. She was not one of my practice clients. She was one of my first paying clients, and I'm so grateful to her for taking a shot with me, and I really hope that I made a really big impact on her life. But yes, weight loss does have a lot to do with diabetes, has a lot to do with blood pressure, working with a health coach, working with a nutritionist, working with a dietitian, working with, a bariatric surgeon, someone who's willing to help you along your weight loss journey. It's so important and it's so necessary for some people, especially the 95% who aren't as often successful. Those are the people who are unable to do it on their own, and that's perfectly okay. Some people do need that cheerleader. Some people do need that accountability partner. And people just need to be checking in, and that's what we're here for. We're here to help you. We're not here to judge you. We are here to be your coaches, your cheerleaders, people who are just here to help provide you with the information, the tools, and hold you accountable. And that's sometimes what all individuals really need. And then there are people who are morbidly obese.
I'm not fat. I'm big boned.
Who actually should attempt gastric bypass surgery, who do qualify, but it is not the easy way out, because you have to be very disciplined in order to lose weight to even qualify for the surgery, because you have to prove to your surgeon that you can follow through. You can abide by the diet, and even after surgery, you're going to be able to follow the program, follow the meal plan, and continue with your weight loss even after. Because the surgery is not a magic pill where it happens and you just lose weight and you can eat whatever you want for the rest of your life. It has to be a habit change, a lifestyle change, and some people aren't ready for that change. And that's how you know someone is ready versus someone is not ready to lose weight and, to qualify for a gastric.
It's who have diabetes, are on insulin, maybe other medications for it, and then they have surgery today, and then today their blood sugar is normal, and they no longer need those medications. So that's really magic.
Absolutely. I mean, anytime you can cure what we consider to be an incurable illness, it's absolutely amazing. Talk about the challenge.
Honestly, it's such a good feeling helping other people in their weight loss journey, because before I was a coach, I struggled with my own weight and self-image, and ever since becoming a coach, it's changed my life completely. And I do have those tools now, and I just can't wait to share my knowledge and my experience with other people.
It's unfortunate that we've come to the point where we have to rely on a surgery because we don't have a clear-cut way for 95% of people to be able to lose weight on their own and keep it off long term. Why do you think that number, 5%, of being able to keep weight off long term is so low? Is it something to do with adherence to diets? Is it the lack of good information on nutrition? The fact that there's a level of willpower that's involved in this? Where do you think that 5%?
I feel like it's all of those factors, honestly. It depends on the person. It depends on the culture that person is raised in, but it does have to do with a culmination of all of those factors. Willpower has to do with it. Culture has to do with it. Individual, just accountability has to do with it. It's really a hurdle that many of us have to overcome in our lives. And it's kind of crazy that we're here.
Stems from?
I mean, just like anything else, it's multifactorial. There are a number of different factors involved. Like one, for example, is we know a lot of people with obesity live in parts of towns and cities where they don't have access to healthy food, or not easy access to healthy food. We also know that healthy food in a lot of cases is more expensive. So that means people who are making less money or lower socioeconomic class level don't have access to healthier foods. And so even if they can get by for some period of time and make modifications, there's real budgetary constraints that come into play.
How do you talk to patients that may not be candidates for bariatric surgery because you're certified in obesity medicine as well?
When she started talking about the socioeconomics when it comes to purchasing healthy food and weight loss and just things of that nature, basically the first thought that pops into my mind is, where's your nearest grocery store? If you're in a low budget income area, you could totally get food stamps. EBTs are used all the time in grocery stores, so it makes it a little bit more affordable. I know not everyone knows how to cook, so that is another factor that a lot of people have to overcome. What I have to say to that is just cook what is good to you. Cook what you know. just start cooking at home, because homemade meals are some of the best meals. The highly processed foods are the ones that, and the convenience foods, the drive-thrus. I'm guilty of it too. I really want to start a series either on this channel or on my Instagram of me going through drive-thrus and just ordering the healthiest foods on the menu, reviewing them, looking at the nutrition facts, things like that. So just let me know if that's something that you might be interested in, because honestly, that's something that I would really love to start doing as a regular series on this channel. Me basically looking at the nutrition facts,
Nutrients!
the ingredients, the taste, and if I personally view it as worth it, and what I would order instead if I would order something instead. Like I said, it all comes down to accountability, moderation, and just habit change, because we're in this for the long term. If you live in a low income area,
My mom is so poor she waves around a popsicle and calls it air conditioning.
most likely you're on food stamps, you can go to the grocery store, purchase foods that are not cooked, not pure like sugar, not highly processed. Purchase healthy foods. And I actually would love to share with all of you what I purchase at the grocery store on a weekly, bi-weekly basis. So if that's something that you're interested in looking into, I'm 100% open to it. I would love to share that kind of information with all of you, just to give you all some kind of an idea as to what you might get at the grocery store, give you a little bit of inspiration, and who knows, eventually you all might be sharing your grocery store list with me for inspiration, for me and for other people to follow suit.
How do you counsel those patients saying, like, look, maybe bariatric surgery isn't for you. There's a 95% chance you're going to fail in losing weight, but here's how you can be successful. Because it's a daunting task.
I would tell anybody, whether they're having bariatric surgery or not, more or less the same thing, which is that there has to be a lifestyle change.
Yes.
As long as we are thinking about weight loss
She's
as a
100%
diet,
right.
as a temporary thing, especially that
It's not a short-term thing. It's not a short-term solution. Has to be lifelong.
That you will really be successful.
She's so
and
right.
This is true for those who've had surgery as well. Is committing to living life a different way, committing to living and eating and moving differently than you did before.
There was a quote that I wrote down in my book.
She's so
here,
true. She's so
from your
right.
Medscape
I
article.
100%
Someone commented,
agree with
I
her.
believe it was a nurse, an RN. This person wrote, "Body positivity is not about health. It's about combating discrimination against marginalized bodies." And I think that's such a powerful quote. The body positivity movement should be about fighting this discrimination, not about saying that the diagnosis of obesity is a false one or a made-up one, or it's a judgmental
That's the actual
one.
definition.
It's an objective
of,
measure
yeah.
of someone's
Thank you,
risk
Dr.
and current health. Now, does it mean that you're completely unhealthy if you fall into one of these BMI categories? No, because
So the BMI chart, BMI body mass index, it is a tool that we use for ourselves. It isn't always a very reliable tool, however, because body mass could be either muscle or fat. So we as professionals have to use our own judgment to determine, is it mostly muscle, is it mostly fat, and we have different other ways of measuring body fat, body leanness, body mass. It is a tool, yes, but it is a flawed tool, I will admit.
again, spectrum. But the fact that if someone discriminates against you for being in this group, that's what body positivity should really be focused on.
I think it's
True.
like a yes and. Yes, you should feel good about your body. Everybody deserves
True.
to feel good about their body.
Yes.
Everybody is worthy of love. And there are negative health consequences for obesity.
Yeah.
Both.
We have to acknowledge that obesity is real, obesity is unhealthy, and obesity ultimately shortens our lifespan.
These things are true, and they are not in opposition. And anyone who tells you otherwise, I think, is stirring up trouble.
I'd
True.
like for you to have the last word. You're the expert. Tell us what message you'd like to leave the audience with.
I just would love everybody to understand that when your doctor talks to you about your weight, it's most times not because they're trying to attack you, but because they want to help you. If you're not ready to talk about it, you can just say so. But keep in mind that you can always come back to that conversation. And
If you're not comfortable yet, just let your doctor know, and maybe they'll circle back to it later on, or maybe when you're ready, you can address it with them.
in the end, we're all in it together to help us live happy and healthy lives.
All right, well, that was very informative. That was very on point. All of the information was correct. I agree with everything they had to say, especially about it being a lifestyle change and not just a temporary state, a temporary diet. It has to be habit change for the long term, and I just really appreciate that they are addressing this, and they have such huge platforms. I would love to have huge platforms like them someday and be able to impact multiple people like that in such a volume. But until then, I am here on YouTube. I am just going to try to continue to pump out content, pump out videos for all of you. But remember to drink your water, stay hydrated, and go out for walks.
Out for a walk, bitch.
Constantly, whether it be going out for a walk with your dog, doing yoga, doing HIIT training, cycling, whatever suits your fancy, whatever floats your boat. I hope you all have an amazing rest of your week.
Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because subscribing makes you feel good.
And I will see you in the next upload. Remember to stay healthy and hydrated out there. Bye.